Hi, I'm Taya Williams. Thank you for joining me here on Taya's Sweet Aroma. Today I am going to be sharing with you the recipe for my homemade caramel apple chimichangas. Now, if you follow me over on Instagram, you may have noticed that I recently shared a video on there of me putting together some of my homemade bean and cheese chimichangas. During that time, I went ahead and made some mini tortillas, and it's the exact same recipe. The only difference is instead of making the balls the 2 inches in diameter, I made them only 1 inch in diameter, and that way I got smaller tortillas. Now, if you don't want to make your tortillas from scratch, you can go ahead and buy some up in the store, but I tell you, it's a huge difference in flavor when you're frying up a homemade tortilla from one in the store. So I say make them. If you don't have the time, go ahead and buy some in the store. I'm also going to be using some of my homemade caramel syrup, which I just shared the video for, so be sure to check that recipe out. I'll be sure to include a link down below for not only the tortillas, but also for the sauce, so you can have those on hand. What I'm doing with these apples is I'm getting them diced down. We are gonna be making a sort of like an apple pie filling, I guess. And that is what we're gonna be filling the tortillas with. So once I get them all diced up, then we'll go over the ingredients. The ingredients you're gonna need for these chimichangas is some flour tortillas, some Granny Smith apples that have been peeled and diced, as well as some pure vanilla extract, granulated sugar, some unsalted butter, lemon juice, cornstarch, some water. In here I have some ground cinnamon, a pinch of salt, and some nutmeg, which I will be grating directly over my over the apples as they're cooking. In here I have some of my homemade caramel syrup, which I was talking about, so be sure to get the recipe for this. There's nothing in the store that can beat this syrup, so make sure that you make this sauce ahead of time as well. We're going to be using it not only in the chimichangas, but also as a sauce on the side to dip them in. To my skillet over a medium-high heat, I'm going to start out by adding in my butter. Okay, now that my butter is melted, I'm going to add in my apples. Give them a toss. To the apples now I'm going to add in the cinnamon and the salt. The salt's going to help those apples release some of their liquid and help them break down. Now I'm just going to grate in some of my nutmeg. Just about 1/8 of a teaspoon or so. Going to get these tossed together. Now that the spices have been added in, we can go ahead and add in the liquids. So to get started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cornstarch, add in about half of the water to here for the rest in there. I'm going to create a little slurry, and this is going to help the sauce and the apples to thicken. Give it a little whisk. Now I'm going to pour that in onto the apples as well. Going to add in my sugar, the lemon juice. And the lemon juice is really good because not only does it help keep your apples from turning colors, or any fruit that you use them in from turning colors, it also helps to sort of balance out the sweetness of the apples and the sugars together. Now that everything's mixed together nicely, I'm going to allow the apples to continue to cook until they soften up, and I will show you what to do next. Okay, the apples are all ready. They've been cooking now for about 5 minutes. You can see that the apples have reduced down a bit. They still have a slight crunch to them, but they have softened up, as well as the sauce has thickened up from the cornstarch. So I'm going to go ahead into the same bowl that the apples was in. I'm going to add it to this bowl and set it aside. Once I turn the heat off, I forgot to add in my vanilla, so I'm going to go ahead and get that added in and stirred. Now what you want to do to get these rolled is you take a tortilla. What I've done is I've warmed my tortillas up slightly so they're a bit more pliable because I had them stored in the fridge. Take a spoonful of the filling Add it to one side. Along with some of the caramel syrup. And since I do add the syrup in, that's another reason why I don't sweeten the apples up a lot, because the caramel sauce is gonna add some extra sweetness to them. So you just wanna get them, roll them, and then you have it. Nice little mini dessert chimichanga. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna continue to roll these. Once I get them all rolled and ready, I have my oil preheating in the back of me, and we will get these fried up. To get started frying, what I have in my skillet is some vegetable oil. You can use the oil of your choice. Just make sure that it's a flavorless oil. And I also have a sheet pan here that I've lined with paper towel to help absorb the extra oil from the chimichangas when they come off. Now, before you get started frying, you want to make sure that you put the chimichanga in seam side down, and that way it seals it closed before you flip it to the other side. So I'll start out here showing you this one, and I like to just hold it for a second. That way I make sure that it's sealed down. Okay, so the first side has been cooking for about a minute. I'm now going to just get the tongs and flip it over. Now these first two should be done. You can see how nice and golden they've gotten. I'm going to go ahead and put them onto the paper and finish frying up the rest of them. Take a look at how nice and golden the chimichangas have came out. The tortilla fries up perfectly. I'm gonna go ahead and give one of these a try. Now what you wanna do is you wanna serve the extra caramel syrup up on the side, and that way they can be dipped in. The syrup is dripping from the inside. Man, let me show you the inside of this. So I had to grab a napkin because the juice is coming out from the bottom. But as you can see, the apples here are nice and tender. Everything cooked up nicely. The tortilla has a nice crusty exterior, but the inside is nice and just soft like you would want a tortilla to be. So again, you just get it. Trying to make sure you can see it here. You just want to drizzle some of that caramel sauce on the top. So when you dip it and you add a little bit extra of that caramel sauce in there, it just oozes all around the apples even more than what you had in there before. Oh yeah. You know how you eat things and you just want to wiggle? This will have you wiggling. It is so good. Oh yeah. I love the tortilla. Love how flaky it gets. And I love using Granny Smith for this because if you use a sweet apple, it's gonna be too much apple in it. The Granny Smith gives it like this little burst of nice little tartness. Oh, so good. Now you could also, after you fry them, if you wanted to toss them in a little cinnamon and sugar, you can do that as well. I think they're perfectly sweetened like this, especially if you're dipping them in the caramel sauce and eating them up like this. Oh, so good. I mean, it's lunchtime, but I guess this could be lunch. I'm gonna wash my hands so I can show you how I plate this up. Now to get them plated, what I do is I take, this is a chip and salsa bowl, and I just kind of take the chimichangas, spread them out all around the platter, making sure you guys can see this. I have a habit of not having things in shot correctly. And if you've watched my videos before, you probably noticed like it's not all at the proper fitting on the screen for you. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get better at it. And then I take this extra caramel syrup and I just pour it in the middle. So here you have it, some homemade caramel apple chimichangas, and they just smell delicious. I mean, they're already good on their own. All the individual components are delicious on their own. I mean, you got the good tortillas, you got the sauce, the apples, the apple filling, and when you just put them all together, that's one thing. But then when you fry it up, it's like, so good. It's just so delicious, so delicious. And I have someone in here who has come to get my attention. Where have you been? Anyhow, I thank you for spending time with me here today. I hope to see you again next time, and be sure to give this recipe a try. Bye.